Tony died.
Excuse me?
Hey, what's up everyone who's obsessed with Rick and Morty and its wondrous lore, and today we aren't fiddling around with that sorry excuse of a season premiere that happened over a week ago. Oh no, today I'm going to be discussing about the most recent one, The Old Man and the Chair. Now just coming from the title alone, I admittedly came to the assumption that this episode was gonna be as boring and plotless as the previous one. I don't know, for me, the questions just were still in the air, it didn't really get me more engaged into the show and the jokes didn't land as hard. Besides that, within this episode, we're shown the more sensitive, soft, and caring side of Rick, making us believe that despite his violent and at times egotistic ways of getting through certain situations, he deep down has a heart. But let me actually tell you something you don't already know, am I right? Of course there's a soft side, of course that someone explains his alcoholic behavior, and of course that's why we see his character become more nonchalant over time. But my reasoning for specifically loving this episode is because it dives in even deeper with that concept, showing that he refuses to try and connect with other people despite him having the opportunity to do so. It's even revealed that instead of taking the life of certain people he finds annoying but yet somewhat relatable, he would rather contain them inside of a sack of fluids that allow the person to live their supposed wildest dreams. And do not worry, I didn't forget about how this all started out in the first place. Apparently Rick is a person who likes complete and total privacy, especially when taking a massive dump, but most of all he likes having a possession of his own that no other entity in the universe can use but himself. And the alien Tony, later on found as the culprit who's been using Rick's sacred toilet, explains that he and Rick both know that it's their way of having some sense of control over something they feel belongs to them. Furthermore, stating that the universe clearly took something from the both of them, and it explains as to why even something as trivial as a private bathroom area means a lot to him. We learn earlier in the episode when Rick finally tracks down Tony after literally reversing the decomposing process of food from an actual turd that Tony had lost his wife. And I really want you to just simply pay close attention to Rick's sudden change in tone, but mainly facial expression as he realizes this.
She's dead. I don't mind joining her. Life has been hollow since I lost her. Using your toilet was nice, though. I'm a bit of a shy pooper. I'm ready when you are.
Stay there. Tell him what you told me.
What is this? What's happening?
Tell him what you told me.
My wife's still alive. She went into remission 10 years ago.
What did you do today?
Oh, I pooped on a really awesome toilet I found. Oh, ow, ow, oh.
Don't use your dead wife as an excuse.
You're not gonna kill me?
Don't tell me what to do!
Throughout this scene, we can come up with two significant details. One being that Tony mentioning his dead wife clearly did kinda get Rick to feel some sort of sympathy towards him. The second one is how Rick tries to cover up his emotional state by bringing in an alternate version of Tony whose wife isn't dead, but yet he still uses Rick's toilet bowl in the end. So Rick just straight up violently shoves the other Tony back into his world and vulgarly warns Tony of never using it again instead of using the initiative to kill him. And so in conclusion, Rick doesn't, but Tony begins to realize Rick's true sentimental state of being, getting Rick to respond this way, almost childish-like.
You're not gonna kill me?
Don't tell me what to do!
And skipping over to the end, and please spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched this episode yet, I really recommend that you check it out, as long as you're mature enough. But anyways, Tony sadly passes away about within a week later, and then one of the saddest endings to an episode ever shown is presented to us, the viewers. Beforehand, Rick plans a trap for the toilet bowl so that whoever sits on it next triggers this.
There he is! There's our guy! Congrats, Tony! Have fun with your stupid toilet that you get to use all by yourself now. Enjoy using it all by yourself while you sit there and think about how nobody wants to be around you and how you ruined it for yourself because you're a huge piece of shit. Look at you sitting there, king shit on his throne of loneliness. Enjoy this toilet with 1,000 of me screaming every time you take a shit.
Now when I first watched this scene, it really pulled the heartstrings for me personally because we were probably all expecting a bunch of giant turrets or cannons to pop out and blast Tony, but no. Instead, Rick was going to surprise him with loudspeakers and holograms of him performing a giant bit for a prank. And the music that plays in the background really wasn't holding back with the emotion. Some other particular details that can be observed is when going back to the funeral clip is Rick's similar way of handling death, like how he angrily yells at Tony, constantly telling others that him and Tony were never friends, and then instead of getting depressed over his loss, Rick copes with this by telling Tony's father about how losing him wasn't really much of a loss because of his evil tyrannical alternate, and then gives him a kit to create another clone of his son. And much like Tony, his father responds in a similar manner.
I understand. It's
Hard losing a friend.
You.
What?
He's not my friend.
Understanding immediately that it was only Rick's tough way of showing that he cares secretly. Plus, I'm sure that most of you have already noticed this by now, but Rick is shown with his mouth potentially oozing with booze, expressing in a subtle manner that Rick had gotten drunk before attending Tony's funeral and then even afterwards. Rick's reasoning for wanting so badly to sever himself from connecting with new people is most likely due to the following. There's Bird Person, who was clearly someone he had befriended decades ago, just shot down by one of the alien bureaucrat agents. And by the way, they showed Bird Person as some sort of a cyborg creature a while back, and we still haven't seen a return, so I'm still waiting on that. His wife, who I still believe to this day was actually Rick's wife for real, manifested inside of his brain for her to look like back in season 3's premiere. She's got the blonde hair and everything like Beth. Plus, in my opinion, I really don't see any reason as to why Rick would want to make a fake wife for this moment. Within their relationship, we still have no idea if it was a toxic one or not, though just by putting the pieces together, I'm certain it was. Obviously, from the beginning, we learned that Rick abandoned his family for well over 2 decades and would consistently isolate Beth in an actual wonderland of safe amusement called Fruity Land. And she did show some signs of abandonment by asking Rick to invent outrageous weapons and even going as far as pushing a friend of hers off into a vat of honey. Rick also was called out for always teleporting away after an argument as referenced by Beth herself, and due to his more arrogant attitude, he also has trouble simply expressing an apology from time to time. I mean, if you really go back in time all the way back in season 1, he still never even apologized for literally infecting the entire Earth with Cronenberg disease, which soon ended with both him and Morty bailing on their own original family and practically scarring Morty for life. But back to Beth's mother. We still have no idea as to where her whereabouts are or status on whether or not she's even alive. Something that I, by the way, may have somewhat of an idea of what could have possibly happened to her. Should be doing a theory of some sort on the topic before the end of this year, so stay tuned for that. Also, part of the theory is that she may not be alive because of Rick. It would explain as to why Rick really separated himself from everyone for so many years, and why he's even seen holding Morty as a baby in Bird Person's home. It could have been Rick's original Morty in a reality where he didn't exactly bail for 20 years, but possibly a few in this one's. And why Rick even blatantly says in the ABCs of Beth that Beth isn't his own daughter.
You're gonna believe a play over your own daughter?
Yes, I am, Beth, because you're not my own daughter.
Oh God, yes, I'm one of infinite Beths with infinite fathers and infinite universes. It's called a hug, Dad, it won't kill you.
Yeah, don't be so sure. You know why all Ricks made a Fruity Land for all their little girls? Same reason I wasn't surprised by Tommy's overwritten, badly structured, cheaply produced flashback.
Well, that is a sad ending of this video. I really hope to also see more of Evil Morty because I still believe he's Rick's original Morty, and also more Bird Person with reasons as to why we should care about Rick and why he is the way he is. But with all that being said, I'm gonna miss Tony's character honestly, probably as much as Rick will. I mean, he was genuinely a kind, intelligent person that reminded me of the creatures from Rick's microverse, and 2 needed a legitimate friend as well. Alright, thank you all for watching, and I should be able to make another video right before Thanksgiving. Peace!